I'm going to talk a little bit about the Ukraine war and military strategy and tactics. Before getting into this discussion, I would just note here that I'm not a military strategist. I have never served in the armed forces. One of my three majors in college was history, which included military history and strategy. I was allowed to take graduate courses in history when I was an undergraduate. I was accepted at Harvard's PhD program in history, but went to law school instead. Although I have no on-the-job training in this field, I have spent the past 50 years or so studying military tactics and history, which does not make me an expert, of course, but does help me understand better what is happening in Ukraine now uh, compared to most non-military people, tooting my own horn a little bit there. Uh, Ukraine claims that it shot down a Russian A-50 surveillance aircraft, which is a very critical piece of information. These aircraft are very similar to U.S. AWACS. This type of surveillance aircraft is extremely expensive. It has powerful radar capable of identifying targets in the air at far greater distances than radar for the S-400 Russian air defense system or the radar used in its airplanes. The radar range of the most recent A-50U can identify aircraft up to 400 miles from where the plane is operating and ground targets up to 180 miles. The cost is around $330 million. I read at least two articles last month that Russia was moving its A-50 aircraft closer to Ukraine in order to gain a wider coverage area. I do not doubt Ukraine's claim that it shot down an A-50 that may have come within range of its Patriot Missile system that Ukraine has received from the United States. The normal range of a Patriot missile is about 100 kilometers or about 62 miles. An AWACS operating in the northern section of the Sea of Azov near Berdansk, I may have pronounced that incorrectly, of course, would have been within range of a Patriot system that had been moved closer to the front lines. There were satellite images that captured the contrails of a Russian aircraft operating in that vicinity shortly before the attack commenced by Ukraine. Russia cannot afford to lose another one of these A-50 aircrafts and will probably not fly within range of the U.S. Patriot system, even if it decides to risk another one. It has only a limited number that it can risk. That would mean far less coverage area in the event another one is deployed, which will make Russia's ground air defense systems more vulnerable to destruction, particularly when Ukraine starts using the F-16s to support a ground offensive next spring. Russia has already lost several of its S-400 missile defense systems to Ukrainian attacks. Those systems cost about $1.2 billion. Given those losses, Russia has moved the S-400 systems to provide support in its Ukraine war from Kaliningrad. It's a landlocked enclave that borders the Baltic Sea. U.S. also claims to have hit a Russian IL-22M, which is a less effective and similar type aircraft to the A-50, which can also operate as a command post. It is my understanding that these two types of aircraft often will be working together. The radio intercepts that Ukraine was able to acquire indicates that this aircraft was hit and was attempting to fly to a civilian airport at Napa, ANAPA, but fell off the radar screen, according to Ukraine, somewhere in the Azov Sea. I think it's most likely that this aircraft was shot down by incompetence of the Russian missile defense systems, who got a little bit overexcited about the attack on the A-50 and just shot at anything that was moving in the area, which also included the IL-22M.